If you follow my channel, you know that I talk about the silver shortage a lot. I think it's the most underlooked variable when we talk about silver's true value coming out. Now, this all really came to play for me personally when I covered an article right around the time Joe Biden got in office and he was pushing the Green New Deal. Well, there was an article that came out from someone that was talking about how if we really think that the entire world can go green, we're talking about 5G towers, electric vehicles, solar panels, silver lithium ion batteries, so on and so forth, that we're living in fantasy land. And after I covered that article, the seriousness of the situation really smacked me in the face. I mean, we're trying to go green for global warming and climate change. And we're talking about zero net emissions by the year 2040. Every automobile company by the year 2030 going to be electric. So, on that note, we really have a lot to look at here. How much silver do we need for all that? So I started looking at how much silver is in each solar panel, right? Silver is in photovoltaics, which is used in solar panels, and there's also silver used in electric vehicles. Those are the two main components. We have a lot more though. 5G towers, plus since silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, even light sensitivity, as we advance in this new digital technological era, silver is going to be needed in literally everything. But it doesn't just stop there. That's just the industrial sector. See, when people try to argue this, they mainly look at just the investment sector. They just look at coin supply, they look at the US Mint and all that stuff. But there's a whole other world to this shortage. Also, given that silver is a byproduct, since silver is an industrial metal, most silver is thrown away. Silver isn't gold. Gold is a monetary metal. It's mainly used for watches, jewelry, earrings, coins, bars, stuff like that. So it gets recycled, right? Every ounce of gold that gets dug up out of the ground is going to stay in circulation for, 60, 70, 80 years. But that ounce of silver that gets dug up, thrown away within a couple decades. So then I took this entire situation and just looked at it logically. I looked at the below ground supply of silver versus the above ground supply versus global demand, looking at a time frame there. Looked at the Silver Institute's data. And that's where most people stop if they get that far, if they even do look past just the investment sector. But you gotta really look at what we're up against, folks. And this is all new technology. Scientists are discovering new uses every single day for silver, since silver is used in the medical world, colloidal silver, and I really just don't think people understand the important role silver is going to play as we advance in this new digital technological era. You ever thought about how much silver is needed in each solar panel or each electric vehicle? Have you ever thought about the life expectancy of these solar panels? They don't last very long. Windmills don't last very long. It takes 58 grams of silver per EV. They're trying to cut it down to around 26, but right now it takes 58 grams. There's 500 ounces of silver in each Tomahawk missile. This war has also costed a lot of silver. So when we're talking about demand, which by the way this year exceeded 1.112 billion ounces, what do you think demand is going to look like 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now? This year it was 1.112 billion ounces. By then it could be 4 or 5 billion ounces easily. That's why when I talk about triple digit silver, I'm saying by the year 2026, 2027. The silver shortage isn't right now. We're starting to see the beginning effects, but it's not going to be in full glory until 2027. And that's why right now you're still going to see mints having silver. Private mints are going to have a lot more silver since they don't have the same regulations as government-backed mints do. Also why the US Mint, the Royal Mint, and the Perth Mint all announced those mints are having the hardest time finding these silver planchets. It's not the private mints, it's the main mints. And that's also why the Royal Mint is now starting to scrap silver out of cell phones and laptops in hopes to recover some of this silver. But I definitely think the most misunderstood part of this entire thing is because people are looking at the shortage like this. Hey, I can still buy Eagles on APMEX. I don't have a problem buying silver anywhere. There's no shortage. It's not that black and white. First, there is going to be premium increases before you're going to see just out of stock, which we are seeing. US Mint did run out of silver in 2020. They did have to make an emergency 1 million mintage supply. This is what really matters. By the year 2030, every automobile company is going electric. Zero net emissions by the year 2040. We're just now starting. The Green Revolution, the Green New Deal it hasn't even really started yet. It's just now starting, and we're already starting to see symptoms of a shortage. So imagine in 6 years from now what the shortage would look like when we're not just needing 1 billion ounces, but 3, 4, 5 billion ounces. And you could say that's crazy, but we're talking about the entire world going green. Everyone electric vehicles, everyone solar panels, everything. Imagine that. Just imagine that. If the human brain can. That is such a large scale that if you really think right now that a shortage would be able to be sustainable, once we get to that point, I don't know what to tell you. And that's what a lot of these people are talking about. It's just not realistic right now in today's day and age. And anyone who thinks it is, that this will be all fine and dandy, is living in la la land. And when that guy mentioned that, it really did hit me hard, and it really did all start to make sense. It's not as simple as, hey, let's just ramp up mining production. There's only so much silver in the Earth's crust. Silver is actually pretty rare. It's harder and harder to find it. Plus, since most of it's thrown away, it's not recycled. I mean, there's a lot to this. There are some alternatives, though, that could be worthy of a look, whether it's space mining or kicking in our front door or mining innovation out of the Earth's crust. Those would be the only options. And you think I might be kidding when I talk about space mining or kicking in our front door, but it's actually, both of those are actually motions in play. Well, to some extent. There's an asteroid headed towards Earth called 16 Psyche. It is arriving by 2026, and NASA sent out a rover this year to go check out this asteroid that supposedly has $500 quintillion worth of precious metals. And that's a number that they said. I didn't just make that up. So they're going to check out this asteroid, see how big it is, see, what type of elements on it. And by the way, that's another thing. Nothing will ever be able to replace silver, because silver is an element on the periodic table. It's not like we're just going to find some new thing. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for a reason. Copper is a close second, but we can't replace copper with silver because the quality downgrades so many notches that it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. And I've covered a lot of articles about that situation itself. Space mining could be a thing. Will they be able to mine an asteroid by the year 2026? Highly, 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 highly doubt it, but they're trying. And someday, space mining will be a thing. Also, people could say that I'm crazy for thinking that they would kick our door in and steal our silver. It wouldn't be that dramatic. It would actually look something more like this. Hey guys, we have a severe lack of silver. Since silver is used in solar panels and electric vehicles, we're trying to make the world go green. So help us save the planet by turning in your silver. They've done things way more shady and way more severe than that with gold. I've made several videos on all the times that the governments have confiscated the people's gold throughout history. Most popular one, the Executive Order 6102 by FDR, stating that you have to give us all your gold, every single person, or you're going to pay a $10,000 fine or spend 10 years in prison, or both. You had to turn it in. If you got caught, you're going to prison for 10 years. Paying $10,000 in 1930s, that's $100,000 today, easy. If that's happened, and every time they do confiscate people's gold, it's in the middle of war or times of economic turmoil. Well, this situation isn't really that, but it is just as valid of a point or a reason to ask people to turn it in, or they'll buy it off of you for a standard price or whatever. But that would be the only way I would feel that makes sense. If they want to be successful, that's what I would do. You don't just say, we need your silver, make it seem like they're doing a heroic act. Turn your silver in, help us make these solar panels. That's the only way I think people would, or the most realistic way that they would get anyone's silver. And this isn't just random information or just a random number that pops in the top of my head that I'm talking about. This is real information, real articles, real interviews that I've watched and read on my channel. I actually just covered an interview a couple days ago. David Morgan, interviewed by Kitco News, Michelle McCory, talking about this exact situation, how there's 500 ounces of silver per Tomahawk missile, and how there's not enough silver, and especially with this war going on, to cut down the amount of silver that's left. Numerous articles from David Morgan or Keith Newmar or Mike Maloney, or so many other names, David Hunter, and I mean, I could go on with all the information that I've covered of these people saying that there is not enough silver for the world to go green. And unless something changes, which would be extremely hard to be a sustainable change, silver true value is going to come out. And I think by the year 2026, 2027, more realistic. But at the end of the day, these are the main things I wanted to highlight in this video. One, that most people look at the shortage strictly from the investment supply and demand, just looking at coin shortages or how much silver the US mint, or do they have enough, or are they running out, without looking at the industrial sector, the technological aspects of silver in this new digital era. That's the most important part of this. Producers turn into the consumers will turn into the producers. The people like you and I that want the silver will be selling it to the people that need the silver. That is so important to understand. Everyone wants a slice of the pie, but there's just not enough pie left, right? You and I want the silver. The industrial sector needs the silver, but you and I are growing in demand, as especially as the price of silver rises and more people are trying to buy it. But then demand goes up in the technological digital era as well. So it's you and me and big business, right? I mean, Tesla, SpaceX, and Solar City with Elon Musk, but you also have, so on and so forth, 5G towers, silver lithium ion batteries. Everyone and everything wants and is needed in silver. And there's just no possible way we can keep up with that. But the main thing to remember is that this shortage hasn't even really begun yet. This is just the beginning, if it has started. 2027 is when I think everyone will realize and acknowledge that silver is scarce, and acknowledge that it is the most important thing in the world for the earth to go green. Right now, it can easily and is swept under the rug, and it still can be. We might be able to see some of the circumstances, or some of the symptoms of a shortage, whether it's premiums or the U.S. Mint, but it's on a much bigger scale. Remember, the U.S. Mint's selling 13 million ounces a year. The annual demand is 1.112 billion ounces. We're talking about 13 million ounces, first billion ounces, and will be billions each year. I mean, I could keep talking forever about this situation, keep throwing out more points and more reasons I have this opinion, but you can go watch my other videos. I really do hope you check out some of the videos that I will show an interview from David Morgan or Keith Newmar, or show an article talking about the numbers, or looking at the amount of silver required in each electric vehicle, and X amount of vehicles that are going to be produced in the next 10 years, and how much silver that's going to acquire, and how much we produce. Look at that type of stuff. It will really start to put things in perspective. But remember, got to keep saying this. Investment demand and the industrial sector are two completely different things, right? They're two completely different things. But the worst part is that both of those demand's going to keep growing. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you thought it was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. I was going to show some of the articles that I was talking about in this video, but I just wanted to keep talking, because when I cover an article, I have to keep stopping and read it, and I already was breaking down everything the article said in the first place. I'm going to wrap this video up here. Let me know what you think. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.